So my speech today is called Privacy versus Security. So my main goal today is to convince others that the benefits of using security cameras for surveillance and things like that outweighs the drawbacks or cons of using them. So the three main points that I'm going to go over today is why security is so important to us as people. The second point I'm going to go over is how camera surveillance can help with security, and why security surveillance is worth the cost and breach of personal privacy. I'd like to introduce with us putting ourselves in a certain situation. So imagine you're at a park with your son. You sit on the park bench and you watch him go on the swings. The swings happen to be in the middle of the park. You don't feel like it's a big deal because he's still visible to you from a short distance. So as you're sitting there on the bench, you get a call from an old friend, and you sit there and you reminisce with your friend and catch up, and you get so wrapped up in that that you end up talking for longer than you had expected. You see that it's getting late, so you hang up the phone, and you go to get your son to tell him it's time to go home. At that point, you look around and you see that your son's missing. You look through the whole park, you can't find your son. So at that point, the thought crosses your mind, maybe he's been taken. So at that point, you think, well, you're the only ones in the park. Who could have seen the person that took him? Nobody could have. So you think, how long is it going to take the police to find my son? And will my son ever be found? And so I know for all of us that's a scary thought to think. But it doesn't have to be like that. If there's security cameras at that park, they could have seen possibly the car that he drove up in, or what he looked like, or where he was going. And security cameras are very good at helping police cut down their search and helping them find suspects and things like that. And so I know that safety is something that is so important to us as individuals, and it's priceless. It's a priceless commodity to us as humans, and it's worth our personal privacy, and it's worth the cost that it would cost to have those cameras set up. So security is a very important thing to everyone, not only in the United States but around the world. The government puts so much money each year into national security, and many people each year spend money on their own personal security of their house and the items that they have, property and things like that. This includes locks, gates, home securities and systems, and so on. But even more important than the material things is you and those you love and your safety. I know that as we have that feeling of security, that gives us peace of mind, and that is so important to everyone, to know that us and those that we love are safe. And throughout history, people have used all kinds of different things to try to ensure the security of them and things that they own. And as years have gone by, there's been different advancements in technology, and one of the biggest things that we use technology for today, new invention, if you will, that we use for security is security cameras. In criminal cases, an eyewitness is really important to convicting criminals and to identify who they are and what they look like. But most crimes, there's no one there to see it. And even if there is someone there to see it, they sometimes can't really remember things well. Maybe they were shooken up, or they can't remember what the culprit looked like exactly. So with video cameras, it's not that way. 24 hours, if a crime happens in a certain area that's being conveyed by that camera, it's going to see it 24 hours a day. And also, it's not going to forget like people can. You'll have that image, you can see what he looks like, you can see where he came from, all the kinds of things like that are so important in a criminal case, to not only find the criminal but also to convict them. Video is very powerful evidence in a criminal case, and so it's so important that we have these things in public places, not only in private places, because things happen. Obviously, a lot of crimes will happen in public places, so it's important that we have them there as well. So in an article written by Stephen Chapman called "Do Cameras Stop Crime?" in the Chicago Tribune of February 20th, 2011, he talked about how Richard M. Daley, the former mayor of Chicago, had a goal to have security cameras, quote, on every street corner in Chicago, close quote. Can you imagine all the unseen crimes that this camera could see? Some are really enthusiastic about the step up in camera surveillance, but others see it as too much of an infringement of their personal privacy and tax dollars. In an article written by David Rapp called "Privacy versus Security" on Scholastic.com, he talked about the controversy in public schools over camera surveillance, saying, quote, there have been protests and legal action surrounding camera installation at schools nationwide, close quote. In the article, it says that some feel that the cameras are, quote, unnecessary expense and would promote an atmosphere of distrust in schools, close quote.